Thank you, Emma.
Yeah. Anyway, I was saying, our company specializes in buying and selling coins from the colonial mints in Latin America, such as Santo Domingo, shipwreck coins and world coins. I'm very happy for the opportunity to be here and share my research with my friends and family. The image behind me is at the top left is a picture of the cover of the reference book that I just told you about, the Charles and Johanna Silver Coinage of Santo Domingo from 1542 to 1552. I was able to create this reference with help from a lot of other people. First and foremost, Mr. Isaac Rudman. He not only paid for the printing of this book, he was the biggest contributor of coins to the study as well. Without him, there would be no book. A big thank you also goes to my partners, Dan Sedwick and Augie Garcia at Daniel Frank Sedwick, LLC. Dan, who is my brother, in case you didn't know, and Augie turned my research from a rough project into something worth publishing. My area of expertise is in the study of the earliest coins from the Spanish colonial mints. I began the study of the first silver coins minted in Santo Domingo about 10 years ago when our company handled the sale of coins from the so-called pewter wreck off the coast of the Dominican Republic. This was the largest group of Santo Domingo Charles and Johanna silver coins to ever come to market, a group of 10 salvaged coins in denominations of half, 1, 2, and 4 reales. It's hard to believe that 10 coins would constitute a large group, but it was then and still is today. Since the Santo Domingo Mint produced silver coins for only 10 years between 1542 and 1552 under the co-regents Charles and Johanna of Spain, surviving coins are few and far between, and I have cataloged scarcely 130 coins in total. I also studied the first coins minted at the Mexico City Mint, which began operation in 1536 and continues today. By contrast, there are thousands of those. Hence, Santo Domingo coins are very rare. Many of the coins from Santo Domingo are not quite as refined as those from the Mexico City Mint. Their strike and their scarcity may be due to lack of silver or demand. The similarity in design of the coins from the two mints, Mexico City and Santo Domingo, stems from a royal decree for making coins in Mexico City, which carried over to Santo Domingo. On one side, what we call the obverse is a simple crowned castles and lions shield with a pomegranate at the bottom of the shield. Now, the castle represents Castilla, and the lions represent León, and the pomegranate represents Granada, 3 provinces in Spain. There's an assayer's initial on the left or the right of the shield, and the denomination opposite the assayer's initial. The legend lettering around the outside of the coin has ornaments such as flowers or amulets, which are essentially circles, hollow circles, used to separate the words. On the half-real coins, instead of a shield, there's a large crowned R, which is really a Latin K for Carolus, K-A-R-O-L-V-S, and a Y for Ioanna, the names of the two rulers, Charles and Johanna, a Latinized form. On the other side, what we call the reverse, are 2 crowned pillars with a banner running between them, inside of which is an abbreviation of the word plus ultra, Latin for more beyond, which was what the colonies in the New World were, beyond the Atlantic Ocean from Spain. There are also mint marks S and P on either side of the pillars, and the legend lettering around the outside of the coin has the same ornamental separators, such as flowers or amulets. There seems to be no consistency in the placement of the assayer's initial, the denomination, the mint marks on Santo Domingo coins. Also inconsistent is the placement of castles and lions in the proper quadrants of the shield, meaning castles in the upper left and lower right, and lions in the upper right, lower left. The style of the lettering, or even what the lettering spells out, is also almost random. For example, this study shows that of the 24 types of 4 reales that I have cataloged, there are 14 different legends on the obverse of the coins and 15 different legends on the reverse. As for the assayer's initial, the F mark for Francisco Rodriguez does not appear on the half reales at all. It is sometimes missing from the 1 and 2 reales, and it always appears on the 4 reales. The denomination on the opposite side of the shield from the assayer's initial follows the same pattern. On the other hand, the S and P mint marks for Santo Domingo are almost always included on the pillar side of the coin as either SP or PS, and often with what we call a retrograde S or a backwards S. Why SP for Santo Domingo? No one knows for sure, the leading theory being that the P was a supplemental mint mark. This is a brief timeline. And as you can see, shortly after he founded the island of Hispaniola in 1492, Christopher Columbus was given permission to establish a mint, but that never happened. Instead, coins were struck in Spain for use in Santo Domingo and the New World. Petitions were made to Spain to create a mint, and finally, in 1542, a mint opened, 6 years after the mint opened in Mexico City. This brief chart shows the number of different types and total number of coins that I have cataloged by denomination. You can easily see the rarity of the coins overall, especially the half real coins with only 18 known over 5 different types. I should clarify that a type refers to a unique combination of obverse and reverse, or die pairs, as opposed to actual die varieties. Of the known population of half real types, the numbers of examples within a given type ranges from unique, as in only one known to me, to 10 examples of a known type. Overall, in the half real denomination, only one obverse die is paired with another type, and all the reverse dies are different from one another. 26 1 real coins have been cataloged over 14 types. The population within these types ranges from only one known example of a particular type, and 7 of the types fall into that category, to 4 known of a particular type. Again, these are die pairs, so obverse and reverse may be found on other types too. Overall, of the 14 total types I have identified, there are 7 distinct obverses and 11 distinct reverse dies. The most plentiful coins are the 2 and 4 reales, with a population of 43 and 42 examples known respectively. The population of 2 reales types ranges from only 1 known example, and 19 of the types fall into this category, to 5 known examples of one type. Overall, there are 10 distinct obverses and 18 distinct reverses, over 28 types total. As you can see, there are a good number of dies that are repeated. In the 4 reales types, the population ranges from only 1 example, and 14 of the types fall into this category, to 5 known of a type. To reiterate, however, the types that I have identified refer to a combination of obverse and reverse, and in many cases, the obverse and the reverse is known in other types as well, especially in the later styles of coins. For example, in the 4 reales, the obverse of what I identify as a type 8 in the book is also the obverse in types 15 and type 22. Their reverses are different, and hence they are different types. Within the 24 types of 4 reales, I have cataloged 14 distinct obverse dies and 15 distinct reverse dies. As I said before, there are many design similarities between the coins from Mexico City, the Mexico City Mint and the Santo Domingo Mint. This is one of the things I found most interesting in comparing and contrasting coins from each of these mints. On the obverse, note the simple shield with the castles and lions and pomegranates, and the castles in their proper quadrants with the pomegranate below. The crown atop the shield has a floral design. The legend lettering around the outside of the coin reads something like Carolus et Ioana, or Carolsetihoana, or in the case of Santo Domingo, Ihoana, for Carlos y Juana, Latinization. On the reverse, note the two pillars in the center of the design, representing the pillars of Hercules. Each pillar has a crown on top of it. As with the early series coinage of Mexico City, the Santo Domingo coins do not have waves running beneath the pillars. The exception to this is the 10 reales coin of Santo Domingo, which does indeed have waves beneath the pillars, albeit different waves from Mexico City. We will discuss this coin a little later. The legend around the outside of the coin reads something like Hispaniae et Indiarum RE, or rulers of Spain and the Indies, again a Latinization. In Santo Domingo, the coin may begin with regis or gis. There is an abbreviation for plus ultra in the banner that runs between the pillars. There are also many dissimilarities between the two mints. The overall quality of execution in Santo Domingo was a little inferior, and the designs display more variability between dies. The assayer F mark could be to the left or the right of the shield or missing altogether. It's always present on Mexico City coins. The denomination might be present on the coin or missing from it in Santo Domingo. Again, it's always present in the Mexico City coins. The SP mint mark could be expressed as PS instead of SP. Early types from Santo Domingo contain mostly Gothic lettering, while the later types contain mostly Latin lettering. This was true in Mexico City as well, where the lettering under the first assayer is mostly Gothic, and later assayers used all Latin lettering. In Santo Domingo, there's also what I call a hybrid type, which has several unusual characteristics. We will look at them shortly so you can see what I mean. This helps explain the large number of types for the far fewer number of surviving coins. These are examples of early shields from what I consider the early types of coins. And as I said, the coins fall into the categories that I have given them is early, hybrid, late, or later. It's important to note that sometimes a coin could contain an early obverse married with a later reverse, or vice versa. As with many coins from this mint, hard and fast rules don't exist. Mostly we deal with trends, and these are subject to change. The earliest minted coins are characterized by mostly Gothic lettering in the legends. Also, both the design and the execution of the design are careful, with lettering very well spaced and regular. The king's name on the obverse is spelled Crarolus, C-R-A-R-O-L-V, or U-S, or Craolus, C-R-A-O-L-V-S, depending on the denomination. The S mint mark is not retrograde, meaning it's the proper way, except on the half reales. Annulets, or hollow circles, are used as separators between words in the legend. You almost always see the E or N as Gothic. So these are the opposite side. These are the pillar side, or the reverse. The legends are similar to what you saw on the shield side, Carolus et Ioanna, and some form of regis, all in Gothic lettering. On both sides of the coin, the beads around the rim and separating the legend from the interior are oval in shape, different from the other types. The plus ultra banner between the pillars is abbreviated as PL within the banner, with a P to the left and outside the banner, and an S to the right and outside the banner, sometimes high above. These are what I consider hybrid types, and I've only seen them on 2 and 4 reales. They're very uncommon. I've only seen 4 examples in the 2 reales and 2 examples in the 4 reales. The lettering is both Gothic and Latin, in addition to some made-up letters. A rotated D-shaped letter is used as a C in Carolus, an E in Et and Regis, and an M in Hispaniarum. A V triangle is used for a V, as in Carolus and Hispaniarum. The S is usually retrograde. Multiple grouped annulets are used as separators between words in the legends. The assayer F mark looks like an E. Castles and lions are usually transposed. Plus ultra is expressed as PL or PLV within the banner between the pillars. There is an S mint mark to the left and outside the banner, and a P mint mark to the right and outside the banner. All have the legend lettering Carolus et Ioanna without an H, so Ioanna, on the obverse legend, and Regis Hispaniarum et Indiarvi on the reverse legends. The A in Carolus and Ioanna is Gothic. They are mostly well-executed coins. These are examples of later types, and they're characterized by mostly Latin lettering in the legends. Flowers and other ornaments were used as separators between the words and the legends on these later types. Often the legends on the obverse and reverse are different, with Carolus et Ioanna on the obverse and some form of Regis Hispaniarum et Indiarum on the reverse, and Indiarum is spelled with an N at the end. Sometimes Ioanna is spelled Ioyana or Yohana. S is usually a retrograde. A is usually an upside-down V, so no horizontal bar across the middle. A Latin capital H takes the place of the lowercase Gothic h on some coins, and capital Latin N takes the place of a lowercase Gothic n on others. So getting to the book and how the book is laid out, this is the first page from the half real types, and it's broken up. The slides had to be broken up, but when you look at the actual page, you have a coin above and then you have some writing below. So this is showing you the blown up coin on the first of the half real. As I said before, my research is based largely on Isaac Redmond's collection, which comprises the largest number of coins. And because he was generous enough to share his collection with me, I could study them in detail and create this reference. So we start with the half real types, and they're labeled as HR dot, go back, HR.1, and then you have HR.2, etc. On each page is an enlarged photo of the best and many times only example of the type, followed by pertinent information about it. The legends on the obverse and the reverse are spelled out because they aren't always clear or visible in a photo. I note characteristics of the type which aren't necessarily apparent or you may not recognize as important. And finally, I list the number of examples I have cataloged and where you can find them. As I noted before, under the half reals, there are 5 different types in total. And this is a page this is the first page, the first type under the 1 realis, and this is labeled, obviously, 1R.1. And it goes 1R.2, 1R.3. And I have grouped these coins from what I consider the earliest type to the latest types. But sometimes an obverse type is married to a reverse and vice versa. That's not always true. There are 14 of these types in total of the 1 realis. Here's a page from the 2 realis, labeled 2R.1, and goes all the way to 2R.28. Again, note that the legends on the obverse and reverse are spelled out. Sorry. The other characteristics of the coin are highlighted, and finally, examples of this type are listed. Remember that a type refers to a die pair where one or both sides of the coin may not be unique, but are in a unique combination. This is the first of the 4 realis type, labeled as 4R.1, and again, the legends are spelled out, the characteristics of the type are enumerated, and the number of coins of this type that I've cataloged are listed and where I can find them. There are 24 types in all. After these coins are presented in the book, there's a short discussion of the 10 realis and silver coins under Philip II, which we will look at right now. Mint records indicate that the Santo Domingo Mint struck one more silver denomination under Charles and Johanna, the large and unusual 10 reales, the only issue in that denomination from any colonial mint. Its existence has been debated for years. However, there's enough evidence to support the conclusion that there are probably 3 genuine examples. The coin design on the 10 reales was like that of the other denominations. On the shield side, there's the simple coat of arms, the castles, the lions, the pomegranates. The castles and the lions are in their proper quadrants. And to the left of the shield, there's an assayer mark for assayer F mark for Francisco Rodriguez, who was the mint assayer in 1542 when the mint opened, and he was the only assayer under the Charles and Johanna period, a period of 10 years, so brief time. To the right of the shield is an X representing the denomination. The legend on this side, in a mixture of Gothic and Latin lettering, reads Carolus et Ioanna. An intricate 8-petal flower is used as a separator between the words, and it's repeated on the pillar side. This type of flower was not used in any other denomination. On the reverse, the most interesting aspect of the coin is the appearance of water under the pillars, resembling but not the same as the waves that appear under the pillars in the late series coinage from Mexico City. A retrograde S is to the left of the banner and the banner houses PLVS with a retrograde S, and the P is to the right. Drawings of these coins from the 1500s to the 1700s shows that the P as a D, which seems logical but is not accurate. The legend reads Regis Hispania Indiaro. Note that the D is a retrograde Gothic E. The unusual style of the G is rare, but it does occur on other denominations. Above all, the execution is careful and precise, 2 characteristics missing in many other denominations, except for what I consider the earlier pieces, the Gothic pieces. Although it's a bit of a departure from this presentation, it is in the book, it's noteworthy that the Santo Domingo Mint produced a very small output of silver coins in 1578 under Philip II, well after the issuance of coins under Charles and Johanna. The assayer for these coins was Cristobal Medina, using an X for the assayer's mark. The same as the name Cristobal was often notated as XPOVAL, since XPO is the Greek term for Christ or Cristo. The mint mark for this coinage was OSD in monogram, which appears to the left of the shield, or the king's monogram in the case of the half real, with the assayer mark X placed to the right. The cross on the higher denominations, those above the half real, resembles the cross on the Mexican silver cobs of 1572 to 1733, with each terminating in a globe. Only 4 coins from this series are known to exist: 2 half reales, 1 real, and 1 4 reales. There are no known 2 reales for this series. And finally, we have the 11 maravedís. These are very rare coins that were minted for a short time between 1542 and 1543. According to Jorge Proctor, there are 8 known in total. The 11 maravedís was equivalent to a quarter of a real, using the New World standard of 44 maravedís to each 1 real, as opposed to 34 maravedís to 1 real in Spain. It's not strictly silver or copper, as it was made with silver-enriched bilin. Characteristics of the 11 maravedís include an assayer F mark in the castle side interior, either to the right or left of the shield, and the denomination X, I, on the other side of the assayer mark. The king's name is spelled Carolus or Carlos, C-A-R-L-V-S. On the pillar side interior, the mint marks S and P are found on either side of the large crowned R, which again is Gothic rendering of K for Carolus, with the P to the left and the S to the right. There are 3 annulets below the king's initial, either all together beneath the R or to the left, center, and right beneath the R. Overall, the lettering is a mixture of Gothic, A and S for example, and Latin, N for example. The legends are similar on both sides. And finally, this is a selected bibliography. It's not very large because there's not there hasn't been a ton of research on these coins since there are so few of them, and the mint did not last very long. Miguel Estrella's work is probably the most comprehensive, and I have relied on it heavily as I began to learn about these coins. If the coins that I studied for the book did not belong to Isaac Rudman, I found them in various auction catalogs, which I've listed. As with any reference work, there's always more room for improvement. Doubtless, there are more coins out there, and surely more types will emerge in years to come. Still, having a reference book for the silver coinage minted under Charles and Johanna will help future researchers and those who simply love the coins. I have enjoyed the adventure, and I hope you will too. Thank you. Thank you.
Don Isaac puede ir subiendo. Él es coautor y partícipe de este libro.
Él va a decir unas palabras y después van a firmar acá el libro. Entonces hacemos como una introducción.
Ahora mismo.
Después que habla él.
Por eso ahora mismo.
Sí.
Okay. Don Isaac. Gracias.
Ay, me tienen de compromiso en compromiso. Buenos días a todos. ¿En inglés o en Spanish?
Spanish, please.
Español. Yeah.
En la versión en español.
Gracias, más fácil. Primero que nada quiero aclarar que nunca fue la intención acaparar todas las monedas de Santo Domingo que aparecieran. Siempre tuve la esperanza, no, tenía una razón, y es que yo nunca he tenido la paciencia para catalogar los distintos tipos. Y siempre supe que aparecería alguien con la paciencia y el conocimiento para hacer este trabajo. Ajá. Que por suerte apareció Cori y ha hecho un extraordinario trabajo. Gracias, thank you very much. Y el fruto del esfuerzo, pues, ha resultado, yo creo, en una obra bastante importante. Y aunque sabemos que no es definitiva, no es final, llegó el rey. Bienvenido, Excelencia. Hay algunas historias interesantes sobre estas monedas. Como dijo Cori, solamente han aparecido en el barco, en el rescate del barco ese que apareció en la costa de Cuba, ¿no? Was in Cuban coast. Was one in Cuba, in the north. So, pero solamente ha habido otro entierro que ha aparecido en República Dominicana. Y esos fueron hace muchos años. Me llaman un día del Banco Central y me dice que si puedo pasar por allá para ver unas monedas. Voy al Banco Central y sorpresa, 10 monedas de plata juntas, de las cuales 8 eran de Santo Domingo y 2 eran normales españolas muy usadas. Lo extraordinario del grupo es que están sin circular. Y aparecieron en San Pedro de Macorís, que es al este de Santo Domingo, pues, después de un poco más lejos del aeropuerto, y la condición es increíble. San Pedro no existía en aquella época, cómo las monedas cayeron allá, y tienen una historia muy interesante que yo traté de obtener. Según la versión que me llevó muchos años poder llegar al fondo, y claro, nunca me dijeron quién fue el que las encontró, había un señor que soñaba con un muerto. Entonces, que el muerto le decía que debajo de un árbol había un entierro de moneda. Y fue entonces con unos 2 jóvenes a buscar y encontraron un gran entierro de monedas de plata. Este joven que iba en el grupo, lo que alcanzó a coger y meterse en el bolsillo fueron esas 10 piezas, porque las otras las tiraron en el río porque eran las monedas del muerto. No sabemos qué había ahí. Claro, El individuo que me las vendió a mí, que me tardó casi 10 años conseguirlas, fue todo una novela, nunca me dijeron quién era porque había pagado $3, $4 por las monedas. La persona que las compró era un joven que había sido seminarista y trabajaba en una ferretería en San Pedro de Macorís y compraba todo tipo de cosas y se la llevaron a él. A mí me tardó mucho tiempo y por fin me vendió cuando un compañero de él se iba a ordenar cura y quería ir a Roma a acompañarlo. Es interesante el perseguir estas monedas, son rarísimas, en realidad son rarísimas. Aparecen ocasionalmente aquí, ahora con mucho trabajo de detección, y tenemos la esperanza de que algún día aparezcan los 10 reales. Que también se supone, Cori, que was 5 reales. We're authorized 5 and 10. The 5, we never have heard about that or never able to see a photo. Pero supuestamente hay otra todavía más rara. De la de 10 reales se conocen 3 piezas. Esta que estamos viendo aquí, que es la que está en el Museo en Viena, que viene de los Habsburgo, que eran grandes coleccionistas y donaron su colección al Museo Numismático en Viena. Y 2 que están en París, que vienen de la Vidal Quadras Collection. Y ustedes no se imaginan el trabajo que yo he pasado tratando de comprar esas monedas. Y es misión imposible. Algún día aparecerán. Así que nada, le dejo la misión a las nuevas generaciones de tratar de conseguir los 10 reales y por favor, traerlos de vuelta a República Dominicana. Gracias a todos.
Queremos dar unos espacios. Alan, ¿alguien más? Ven con Alan. La de Carmen va a ayudar y cerramos a Nico y cerramos el tiempo de comentarios y preguntas.
Muchas gracias. Cori, magnífica presentación. Cori, you mentioned that the P was thought to be a supplemental mint mark, but I believe that in Jorge Proctor's magnificent book on the early colonial mint of Panama, he presented documentation wherein he discovered for the first time that the P actually stood for Santo Domingo del Puerto. And that is the reason why there's a P and not a D, if I'm not mistaken, but yes. King Jorge can confirm that.
El Rey. No, that is true. But again, it's not definitive, like a lot of things.
Don Isaac y Cori, felicidades. Recuerde, don Isaac, que en Panamá, en el puerto de Nombre de Dios, también se encontraron varias. Y traje un 11 maravillas. El que tengo yo, se lo traje aquí en el bolsillo. Pero para que lo vea, no para vendérselo.
Entonces, no me lo enseñe, por favor.
Después de lo de pronto van a firmar libros.
Uno de los dos.
Ok.
Es curioso, una de las 2 piezas de 11 maravedí que están en el libro reproducido fueron rescatados milagrosamente un amigo que hacía de todo y entre ellos muchas de las cosas que hacía era comprar monedas y vender monedas. Entró en una joyería y estaban cogiendo esta moneda y le iban a montar para usarla y él le dijo, no, esto no vale nada, ven, y se la compró mejor y por eso se salvó, que es la más bonita de las 11 reales que existe, que está en el libro. Y a veces la casualidad hace que aparezcan cosas importantes, así que hay que seguir buscando.
Gracias.